Section 1. The power play backfires. He walked into the courtroom with the same swagger he's known for, but in a place where silence speaks louder than power, even a nod can spark chaos. That's exactly what happened when Sean Diddy Combs started making faces and nodding aggressively at the jury mid-trial. It wasn't just a twitch or a glance. The judge said he was vigorously nodding during a critical cross-examination, as if trying to influence the outcome with a smirk and a stare. It didn't work. Judge Arun Subramanian didn't just warn him, he called it absolutely unacceptable and made it clear, one more move like that, and Diddy could be removed from the courtroom entirely. Imagine that, a man once seen as one of the most powerful forces in the music industry, now getting publicly dressed down like a misbehaving kid in detention. His lawyers rushed to calm things down, assuring the court it wouldn't happen again. But the damage was done. The courtroom no longer felt like his stage. It was a battlefield, and he just lost the first round. But while all eyes were on Diddy's courtroom performance, another voice entered the room, and what she revealed would change everything. Section 2. Jane's shocking revelation. She came into the courtroom under a fake name, for safety and maybe sanity. The woman known only as Jane was once someone Diddy flew around the world. Turks and Caicos, Miami, the Bahamas, 5-star hotels, private tables at restaurants most people can't even pronounce. At first, it was the kind of romance people post about. The thrill, the sparkle, the sense that maybe, just maybe, she was living a dream. But then came a moment that shattered everything. According to Jane, it started in May 2021, a quiet night in Miami that turned into something else entirely. Diddy had hired an escort and asked her to go through with it while he watched. She thought it was a one-time thing, something she didn't like but maybe could forget, but she was wrong. That night opened a Pandora's box, she told the jury. It was a door I was unable to shut. She described what followed as a string of what prosecutors now call hotel nights. Disturbing arrangements where Diddy allegedly orchestrated sexual encounters with other men, pushing her further each time. She said she went along with it because she loved him, and because at that point she wanted to make him happy, even if it meant ignoring the voice inside her that kept screaming no. Jane told the court she said no many times, but Diddy kept asking, kept arranging, kept crossing the line. I felt frustrated, she said. I felt just obligated. This wasn't about parties anymore, it was about power, and the terrifying lengths someone might go to hold on to it. But that wasn't where it ended, because in Diddy's world nothing came without strings, especially love. Section 3. The hidden transaction. By April 2023, the relationship had twisted into something even more complicated and expensive. That's when Diddy started paying Jane's rent, a staggering $10,000 per month. But this wasn't a gift, it was leverage. According to Jane, the message was clear, unspoken, but heavy. I'm not going to pay rent for a woman I'm not seeing. The luxury wasn't freedom, it was a leash. A golden one, sure, but still a leash. What she described wasn't just financial support. It was control disguised as generosity. She wasn't just his girlfriend anymore, she was dependent, and the unspoken threat hung in the air. Walk away, and you lose everything. The court sat in silence as she explained how that arrangement made her feel. Not grateful, but trapped. The kind of trapped that comes when your bank account becomes a battlefield, and every dollar is a reminder that you're no longer in charge of your own life. And while the money flowed, so did the pressure. The hotel nights didn't stop. If anything, they intensified, and she no longer knew where her consent ended and his expectations began. But the control didn't just come through money. There was something else, something far more dangerous coursing through their relationship from the very start. Section 4. The party never stopped, but at what cost? Jane told the court that from the very beginning, the luxury dinners, the flights, the late-night parties, there was something else always present. Drugs, ecstasy, cocaine, ketamine, not casually offered, but in her words, provided by Diddy himself. She said she used them during private moments with him. but also during those hotel nights, when she was expected to perform in ways she didn't want to. The line between what was real and what was altered blurred fast, and that's exactly how it seemed to be designed. Not an accident, but a system. To the outside world, it looked like the high life, but behind closed doors, Jane said it was chaos in designer packaging. What she described wasn't partying, it was dependency. On the drugs, on the lifestyle, on him. Prosecutors are using this to frame a larger pattern. This wasn't about sex or drugs alone. It was about coercion, and building a world where saying no didn't feel like an option anymore. And in the courtroom, you could feel the shift. This wasn't a messy relationship anymore. It was beginning to look like something far darker, a carefully controlled cycle of abuse, masked as a love story. But Jane's account wasn't the only one pulling back the curtain, because another woman, from Diddy's past, took the stand with a story that raised the stakes even higher. Section 5. The balcony incident. Fact or fabrication?
She didn't walk in with a pseudonym. She didn't need one. Bryana Bongolan had already been named, not just in court, but in a lawsuit, in media headlines, and now under oath. Her story, terrifying.
According to Bongolan, Diddy lifted her onto the railing of a balcony, threatening to drop her, before allegedly throwing her into nearby furniture, leaving her bruised and shaken. She described a confrontation that spiraled into violence, and for the jury it painted a chilling picture of a man on the edge of control. But the defense wasn't about to let that image stand unchallenged. Attorney Nicole Westmoreland came out swinging. She questioned the timeline, the story, and the motive, zeroing in on a previous demand letter from Bongolan's lawyer, which reportedly included a request for money. Westmoreland accused her of reshaping the details to support a lawsuit. And then came the biggest blow, an accusation that Bongolan had lied under oath. "You came in here and lied to the ladies and gentlemen of this jury," Westmoreland said bluntly. "I can't agree with you," Bongolan replied, steady but visibly shaken. It was a classic courtroom collision. Two versions of the same night, with the truth hanging somewhere in between. The defense brought receipts, event records, concert footage, and public sightings of Diddy in New Jersey and New York on September 25th and 26th, 2016, the same window Bongolan claimed the assault happened. But the prosecution fired back with metadata from a bruise photo, time-stamped September 26th, and a text message from Cassie Ventura herself, dated September 30th, stating that Diddy came to her apartment in the middle of the night, choked Bongolan, and held her off the balcony. Two timelines, one night, a bruised leg, and a jury stuck in the middle of a fog of claims, evidence, and doubt. And then, as if the pressure in the room wasn't high enough, the defense delivered its boldest accusation yet. Section 6. Legal chess. Who's winning? In most trials, evidence tells the story. In this one, it's all about who the jury believes, and the defense knows it. Attorney Nicole Westmoreland zeroed in on every inconsistency she could find in Bryana Bongolan's account. She pulled out a civil lawsuit, a lawyer's letter. She questioned whether Bongolan was seeking justice or just a payout. She suggested that the entire balcony incident had been exaggerated or even fabricated in pursuit of a financial settlement. And when Bongolan repeated that Diddy had run his hands over her chest during the confrontation, a detail prosecutors had referred to as sexual assault, Westmoreland pounced again. "You didn't describe it as sexual assault in your statement, so which is it?" It wasn't just a question, it was a trap, designed to make the jury wonder, if she changed this, what else changed? But prosecutors weren't backing down. They reminded the court that trauma doesn't always come out in perfect, rehearsed lines. People remember pain in fragments. Sometimes timelines don't line up, but bruises still appear. And then came their counterpunch. A text message from Cassie Ventura, Diddy's longtime ex, sent days after the alleged balcony incident. In it, she described Diddy choking Bongolan and holding her over the balcony, a message sent before lawsuits, before media attention, and before any courtroom testimony. It was subtle, but effective. Proof, the prosecution argued, that the claims weren't invented later, they were spoken in real time. It wasn't in proving this too. Now, the courtroom isn't just a space for facts, it's a chessboard. And every word, every contradiction, every supporting text is a move that could tip the balance. But even as attorneys played their game of strategy, there was one man in the room who couldn't stop himself from reacting, and the judge took notice. Conclusion: the image crumbles. In his prime, Diddy commanded stages, boardrooms, and headlines, the king of reinvention. But in this courtroom, the rules are different. The jury doesn't care about record sales or champagne-soaked memories. They're watching a man unravel one testimony at a time. The judge's warning wasn't just about behavior, it was symbolic. A signal that the same charisma Diddy used to control rooms for decades won't protect him here. The smirks, the nods, the arrogance, they're no longer power moves, they're evidence. And the stories, Jane's emotional collapse behind closed doors, Bongolan's bruises and broken trust, they've cracked the armor wide open. This isn't about a celebrity caught in controversy anymore. It's about a pattern, and a man who, according to prosecutors, built an empire not just on talent, but control. Now, with the courtroom watching and the public listening, Diddy finds himself somewhere he's never truly been before: powerless. The trial isn't over. The defense still has cards to play. But as each witness speaks, as each contradiction gets picked apart, one thing becomes more and more clear. He used to own the room. Now, he's fighting to stay in it.